About a year and a half ago, I got my first taste of the credit card award travel game after opening this year Chase Sapphire Preferred. You could say that I definitely enjoyed picking up the hobby, as over the last year and a half, I've pretty much gone on a rampage opening another 15 or so personal and business credit cards. My current running total is sitting at a whopping 20 open and active credit cards, all of which are centered around the points and miles game. And I thought I would do something fun today, which is ranking each and every one of my credit cards in a tier list and explain why some of the cards I think are long-term keepers, and while I'll be canceling a few of them in the next couple of months. And just a heads up, if you are interested in any of the cards that I personally own and go over today, links to each of them, and yes, seriously, each and every single one of them will be down below in the description. They do happen to be affiliate links that support the channel, so if you do end up applying through one of these links, then a huge massive thanks in advance for supporting the channel. But we need to go ahead and jump into ranking, because again, we have a lot of credit cards to go through, and I feel like before we start dropping credit cards all over the place, it's worthwhile explaining how I'm mentally sort of categorizing each one of these tiers. Now for D tier, this is going to be credit cards that I personally have open and active, but if I could have gone back in time, I would have never done this, or I wouldn't recommend this card to anyone. The cards in this category will be ones that they just don't have any competitive advantage. There are just cards out there that are way better. And again, for just 99.9% of people, it doesn't make sense to open this credit card in today's day and age. C tier are cards that, let's just say I'm considering canceling, but haven't fully gone out of the way and pulled the trigger on it yet. There might be one that would kind of shock you that I'm going to put in C tier later on, but these are cards that by and large, I probably wouldn't recommend the average person to open. And there are probably better cards out there in these respective categories that would make more sense. Now, getting onto the B tier, this is where I could probably start recommending these credit cards to some individuals, meaning if you like a specific airline, or you love a hotel brand, or if you really love a particular point currency like Chase Ultimate Reward Points or Amex Membership Reward Points, then these will be cards that for some people it might not make any sense depending on your travel preferences and habits. But I think for the right individual, you can get a lot of outsized value with these credit cards, either from the perks and benefits or from the welcome offers alone. Now, A tier are going to be cards that for most individuals, I think it would make sense to have these credit cards open. Again, it will still definitely depend on your travel preferences. If you like to just stay domestically, international, if you like flying business class, all these sorts of things, again, are very particular to each individual. And so even if I put a card in A tier, it could be a card that you would never consider applying for, and that is more than fine. But again, I think for cards in this tier, they're ones that I think you can get a lot of long-term value from just keeping open. And lastly, S tier credit cards are going to be the holy grail of current offerings on the market, meaning basically to 99% of individuals, I could almost blindly recommend for you to open this card, and that if you didn't already have it, that it would elevate your travel lifestyle, your award travel game. Basically, there's just no way you could open this card and not end up getting a ton of value from it. And so with that out of the way, let's get started ranking with our first card here on the list, and that is actually going to be the Hilton Business Credit Card. Now, I do have to give a heads up that I think my current ratio of credit cards is 14 business cards and 6 personal cards, which I think differs from a lot of other YouTubers out there who have way more personal cards than business cards. Trust me, there's a lot more similarities between business and personal credit cards than you might think, as I've come to find that out personally over the last year and a half. Now, the reason this card has found its way into A tier, and I would say firmly into A tier, is because of a few reasons. Now, this being the business variant, it has a special earning category multiplier where for the first $100,000 in spend each and every single year, you get 5x Hilton points per dollar. Even if you value Hilton points at 0.5 cents per point, that is still a flat 2.5% back on all spend with this credit card, again, for the first $100,000 in a year. Now, if you're a business and you're spending a lot of money, well, you're probably quickly going to blow through that, but that is 500,000 Hilton points you could earn on this card, which I think is just a crazy superpower. Another benefit this card recently received with its refresh this year was a quarterly $60 Hilton statement credit. Now, the cool thing about this credit is you can actually just purchase a Hilton gift card online with a particular retailer. It'll code as Hilton, and you'll get credited back the purchase. And so I've currently got stashed away a few $50 Hilton gift cards that I've purchased with this card, got credited back to my account, and plan on using them in the future. All of this paired with the really competitive 175,000 Hilton point welcome offer at the moment. It's just a really solid card. Even if you're somebody who doesn't love Hilton properties, if you just get the gift cards every year, you're still going to come out on top, and you can have a really baller stay the next time you visit a Hilton hotel. Next up on the list, and yes, I am going a little bit out of order, is going to be the Bilt MasterCard. Now, if you follow the channel, you might have recently seen a video I uploaded in which I basically stated that I kind of regret opening this card, and it pretty much all boiled down to, in hindsight, hindsight, the point earning potential on this credit card wasn't as great as some people made it out to be. Even if I was putting every dime of my rent spend on this card and all my day-to-day dining expenses and where there's more earning multiplier categories, it still would have been more beneficial for me to open another personal credit card with just a large welcome offer, and I would have been able to earn way more points in a short amount of time doing that strategy than just using the bill card for my rent spend. But I feel like B is still a really good tier for this card, because for most individuals who are not hyper optimizing the credit card points and miles game like myself, will be more than fine putting their rent spend on this card and accumulating an additional 20 or 30,000 points a year just from their rent spend. And so I think for most individuals, this card makes sense. It's no annual fee. It doesn't cost you anything to open it or hold the card long term. And so that's why I won't be canceling the card. But if you're someone who really likes earning credit card points and miles, then I think you'd be better off using your Chase 524 slot for something else rather than using it on this built card. Next up on the list, we have another hotel card. And in my opinion, it's another long-term hotel keeper card that I'm going to be having, and that is the IHG Premier Business Credit Card. Unfortunately, the IHG program has recently received a bit of a devaluation. Their points used to be around 0.7 to 0.8 cents per point in value, but that value has been knocked down pretty drastically recently to around 0.5 to 0.6 cents per point. So although IHG points aren't as valuable as they used to be, this card still packs a lot of punch. Every single year that you renew this card, it's a $95 annual fee card. By the way, you get a 40,000 point certificate, which can be redeemed for one night up to 40,000 points at any IHG property. And again, even taking IHG points at 0.5 cents per point, that means that is a $200 free night certificate you get every year for paying a $100 annual fee, which is great. You also get IHG Platinum Elite status, which isn't their tippity top status, but it still does get you some perks at check-in and in potential hotel room upgrades. And also in holding this card, you get access to a really overpowered perk with IHG, and that is the 4th night free benefit, meaning if you redeem 3 nights of hotel stays purely on points, you'll get the 4th night entirely for free, which basically increases the value of your IHG points by like 30% in most instances. And so although this card doesn't pack a massive punch, I still think long-term it would make no sense for me to cancel this. And again, that's why it's been awarded the A tier spot. Now next up, we're going to be chucking a card in this list that you might not have even ever heard of, and I wouldn't blame you, and that is going to be the First Citizens Bank Reward credit card. Now, this is actually the first ever credit card that I opened 5 years ago. And I wanted to be honest with you guys and even show you the cards that I don't even really use on a day-to-day basis or aren't very active in my setup. But when I was first getting into the credit card space in general, my parents had always taught me I need to open a credit card, build some credit, you know, the traditional, you need to build some credit talk. And when I went to do this, I tried to apply for like a store card, a gas station card. I think it was an Exxon card, and they denied me. And so fortunately, I had a relationship with this bank and I was able to get approved for this credit card. And so if it weren't for this initial first credit card, I don't think I would have had the credit profile to actually apply for the Chase Sapphire Preferred and get approved and then start my entire journey. So although it is in D tier, it is a no annual fee credit card, and I think it earns 1% or 1.5% on some purchases. The earning tiers are just bad. It's not good. It doesn't make any sense to open. There's no welcome offer. What does that even mean? How is there no welcome offer? I don't even know if just general no annual fee credit cards still have some good competitive welcome offers. There's no welcome offer on this. The earning multipliers aren't very good. I just don't even use it anymore. I have like a monthly subscription on it so it doesn't get canceled, and I make sure my credit stays in good shape. But it just makes no sense to open this card. If you want a no annual fee card, get the Bill MasterCard, get another, the Capital One Saver card. It's an amazing no annual fee credit card. Just don't get the First Citizens Bank Rewards card. Next up, we're going to be putting another card in B tier, and that is going to be the Delta Sky Miles Gold Business Card. And honestly, there's a part of me that kind of wants to slide it up to A tier, but the yearly annual fee on this credit card is $150. I don't think there's that much added value from this card that I'd be able to get back to move it up to A tier. But personally, I know a lot of people hate on the Delta Miles ecosystem, and Delta Sky Miles are more commonly known as Delta Sky Pesos because of their poor value. But when you hold any Delta card, the cost of using your miles to redeem an award flight is instantly minus by 15%. They call it take off 15. And so having this card, I've been able to get pretty decent value with my Delta miles. I think they average around 1.35 cents per point, which is pretty good considering Delta miles are really easy to earn. But some things that hold this card back is the welcome offers, depending on the time you're looking at applying, can be very variable. You can miss out between $20,000 and $40,000 Delta points, just depending on the time you apply and what elevated offers are currently running. The earning multipliers on this card are also pretty bad. I think the most you can earn is like 2x points on just general categories like dining and stuff like that, which for Delta Sky Miles, again, the value isn't great. So if the earning multipliers and the categories aren't great, well, then you're probably not going to be putting a lot of spend on it. Additionally, with this gold version, you're not able to earn Delta MQDs, which are used to get you Delta status. And so really for me, it makes no sense to put a lot of spend on this card. I basically got it for the welcome offer. I do get a free checked bag and free early boarding with holding this card. So it is nice, but with the yearly annual fee again being $150, it is waived the first year of card ownership. There's a good chance that I'm going to be canceling it once the renewal hits, because I just want to pay $150 for a free check bag and free early boarding. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for me. But what you've all been waiting for, the first card to be awarded the S tier slot, I can't not do it. The Capital One Venture X, I think, rightfully deserves its position in S tier, and that's mainly because this card, it's so stupidly easy to get positive value from each and every year. Famously, this card is a $395 year annual fee, but you also get a $300 travel credit to be used in the Capital One travel portal each and every year for things like flights, hotels, rental cars. And so right there, if you are already spending $300 a year on travel, use it on the Capital One Venture X through the travel portal, you're only paying $95 a year for this card. And the cherry on top is you get 10,000 bonus miles every single anniversary year that you hold the card. And so even at the worst valuation, you cash them out for 1 cent per point, you're still getting paid $5 a year to hold a premium travel credit card that has great insurance benefits, great trip benefit, that has really good insurance coverage, a lot of travel benefits. You get lounge access, priority pass. There's just so much free benefits that come with holding this card. But again, even if you're someone who's not a hyper optimizer for the points and miles space, you just can't lose with this card, especially considering it also has 2x back on everything, which is a very competitive earning multiplier. But with one Capital One card being ranked so high, we've got to rank the other Capital One card right down in C tier. Now, this is the second credit card that I've ever opened, the Capital One Venture One. And the reason for that is at the time, I'd had my first Citizens Bank card from 2 years now. So my credit was in, I want to say, the high 600s, but it wasn't in the 700s yet. And so I was looking around for my next travel focused credit card, and I stumbled upon the Capital One Venture One, which earns 1.25x back on all of your spend. I think you can get 5x back on travel booked through the Capital One travel portal. But because Capital One has a few different tiers of credit cards, basically one is for okay and good credit, and one is for excellent credit, I wasn't very confident at the time I was going to be approved for the excellent version of the credit card. And so this card did not have a welcome offer. I did not receive any sort of welcome bonus. Like, I think currently it's 20,000 points after $1,000 or $2,000 in spend. It's not a fantastic welcome offer to begin with, but it is a no annual fee card. Again, it doesn't cost me anything to actually keep this card open in perpetuity. And since it is one of my oldest credit cards, I'm just going to keep it open. But I put basically $0 of spend on this card outside of a reoccurring subscription just to keep it open. And as far as no annual fee cards go, even with Capital One, just go for the Saver One card. It's a much better bang for your buck. And there's also a welcome offer. Now, you might have noticed there's actually 3 versions of one particular card on this list, and that is the Chase Inc. line of cards. Okay, I want it to be, okay, hello, there we go. To me, it's top of A tier, and that's for a few reasons. The first one being the welcome offers and the welcome bonuses on the Inc. line of cards. It's just so hard to beat. Chase Ultimate Reward Points have become my favorite currency in the space because they can be used for flights and hotels, with being transferred out to Hyatt and basically being transferred out to a ton of amazing airline transfer partners. And I think the current welcome offer on the Business Preferred is 90,000 points after spending $8,000 in the first 3 months of card ownership. So it is a bit more of a steep minimum spend requirement in order to get these points for the welcome offer. But for $95 a year, even if you open up this card, achieve the welcome offer, and cancel it whenever the second year annual fee comes up, you're still ahead like over $1,000 in positive value, because when you hold the Business Preferred card and redeem points in the Chase Travel Portal through this card, you'll actually earn a flat 1.25 cents per point with your Chase points. So I think at a minimum, these points are worth like $1,100. Again, that's assuming you don't transfer them out to travel partners. And with this card, you also unlock the benefit to transfer those points out. And so this could be an S tier card, but because there is an annual fee associated with it, and there's not any perks and benefits to really help offset that annual fee, it's not a card that makes sense to open and hold long term, but it's more of a card to open, get the welcome offer, hold it for about 12 months, and then maybe cancel the card and then open another one, which I think a lot of us take advantage of currently with the ink business cards. All right, I realize the video is taking a bit long at this point, so let's go through a few rapid fires right now. We're first gonna start out with the Hawaiian Airlines business card, and honestly, this could be C tier, but with the recent Hawaiian and Alaska merger, these are basically, I earned 70,000 Hawaiian Airlines miles, which I'm gonna transfer over to Alaska Airlines, and that value is just really hard to beat. It's a $95 a year annual fee card, but this is crazy. There's like no perks and benefits with holding this card. You don't get a free check bag with Hawaiian. You don't get early boarding. You get like a 50% off one-time companion fee with the welcome offer. And that's it. This card is basically, hey, open this card with us, get a welcome offer, and then we hardly offer you any reasons to keep this card open long term unless you just really want to earn Hawaiian miles. So B tier might even be generous. I'll probably cancel this after a year or so, and so it's actually likely to be more C tier, but I'll be nice and put a B tier. And next up, talking about Alaska Airlines, let's go ahead and just put the Alaska Airlines business credit card where it also belongs. That is B tier. Now with this credit card, I think I got a welcome offer of 70,000 points after $2,000 or $3,000 to spend in the first 3 months. Again, a really good offer on this card, but I think in the same vein, I tried to look and I think you get early boarding, but you don't get a free checked bag, and it is $95 a year to hold. And so considering that I don't fly with Alaska Airlines and I won't be able to take advantage of the priority boarding, it's probably another credit card that I'm just going to open, get the points, and cancel. And that's kind of the theme with the business credit card structure. Since business credit cards don't report to your personal credit report, opening them for a year and then canceling them doesn't have any negative impact on your personal credit report. If you were to go, for instance, get an auto loan or apply for a mortgage, it's not going to show up that you've opened a bunch of lines of credit just to immediately cancel them. And so that's why there are a lot of business cards on this list. I can churn through them with pretty fast velocity. They don't report to my personal credit score, and the welcome offers are usually just way higher than that of the personal variants of the exact same cards. Continuing on with the rapid fire, the other First Citizens card, this is a business card, and I'm going to be honest, the phone representative kind of got me on this one. They called me up one day, was making sure everything was good, and they're like, hey, do you want to apply for a business line of credit? I was like, sure. I applied for it, got like an $8,000 line of credit with them, pretty generous, and I just haven't really used the card very much recently since I've been more focused on the travel side of things. I think the earning multiplier is like 1x back on everything, and it can only be redeemed for travel through their portal, and their portal isn't good. And the welcome offer was only, I think, $100 bonus after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months. So again, doesn't make any sense for you to open this card. Maybe in some universe, having this card open prior to going for a lot of these other business cards helped me get approved, but realistically, I'm not sure how true that is. Alrighty, and the cards we have left, things are looking pretty stacked, and we're gonna go ahead and deal with the Amex Platinum. It's the most expensive credit card that I have, and I have 2 of them, $695 a year for each of them. Crazy, I know, I'm a madman, but this card, in my opinion, is going to be going up here in A tier. Now, the reason I'm slotting it in A tier is very personal to me. I'm currently based out of the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport, and the great thing about that and having an Amex Platinum card is just this year, they opened the largest Centurion Lounge ever in the world. It's like 22,000 square feet, and I'm someone that's fortunate enough to fly around once a month and maybe once every 6 weeks, and so I have visited the Centurion Lounge in Atlanta probably almost 10 times now over the last like half a year, which is pretty crazy to me. And so just on free food and drinks alone in that lounge and other Centurion lounges, I probably recouped the annual fee of one of those cards. But even though this credit card has such a ridiculous annual fee of $695, which I think is the same yearly annual fee for the personal version of the Platinum, just like the personal version, the business version, it's kind of like a coupon book. There's $400 a year you can get back at Dell Online, which actually has a lot of cool tech items to be purchased. Then you get $200 a year in airline incidental fees. And so right there, that's around $600 that I can properly use and liquidate to recoup the insane annual fee of the credit card. The other $95 a year, I'm basically just chalking it up as that's how much I'm paying on these cards to get access to the Centurion Lounge. And again, I've been more than able to recoup that value. So it's very similar to the Platinum. It's a coupon book, it's expensive, but the welcome offer on this card is up to 250,000 Amex MR points after spending a whopping $20,000 in the first 3 months of card ownership. And so I understand that is absurd, and that is a ton of spend, which again, that's why this card is a business Platinum card, not the personal card with the same minimum spend requirements. But for me personally, I'm keeping this card open. It gets me access to Centurion Lounges, which have been very, very helpful in elevating my travel lifestyle this year. And I'm looking down here, we've got 4 Chase cards, 2 Amex, and 1 Citi. Let's go and deal with one of the Chase cards, that being the Sapphire. Reserve. I think compared to the other premium travel credit card offerings like the Capital One Venture X and even the Amex Platinum, for most people, because their airport lounge offerings are so small, their earning multipliers aren't bad, but they have like the same earning multipliers as its little brother, the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I think for most people, you'll have to kind of stretch to get proper use and value out of the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The welcome offer is decent at around 60,000 ultimate reward points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of card ownership. But even right now, the Chase Sapphire Preferred has an even better welcome offer than the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And so I feel like Chase just needs to revamp this card a little bit. They've messed with its perks and benefits recently, trying to give it more value, but in my opinion, it's kind of hurt itself recently because the credits and the perks and benefits are, at least for me and seemingly others, a little bit harder to use and get proper value out of. But I will be keeping this card open at least for 1 more year. I'm giving it one last chance to redeem itself. And if the Chase Sapphire Reserve isn't able to provide a ton of value for me in my second year of ownership, then I'm most likely going to be canceling it. And again, I have a full video that I just posted, I think a few days ago, as to my full thoughts and opinions and how much value I've been able to get out of this card, which is basically break even. And that's not really great considering this is a $550 a year annual fee card. And that's not great considering this card has a yearly annual fee of $550. And so that's probably my hot take of the video. Most people, or some people, could put this A tier, some could put it S tier, but for me, in my instance, in my situation, and how I've been able to use the card so far, it's C tier, maybe bottom B tier, but it just feels better in C tier for me. Now, another card that's good but isn't great is the American Airlines City Business Credit Card. It's actually significantly better, in my opinion, than the Delta Sky Miles Business Card, because for a lower annual fee of only $95 a year, you get a free check bag, you get free early boarding, and you get the ability to earn loyalty points with a spend on this card. And so if you're able to spend $40,000 in a year, which I know is a lot, but again, this is targeted towards business individuals, then you could get American Airlines Gold status without flying a single time. And so for that reason alone, the fact that it gets free check bags, free early boarding, and the ability for you to speed run your status up to Gold, Platinum, or the other American Airlines statuses, I think this card packs a lot of punch and could even definitely go above the Bill card, definitely top of B tier, maybe A tier. I'll probably keep it for another year or two. I might end up canceling it in the future if I don't fly American Airlines that much or really utilize all the perks and benefits. But I do think for most people, if you fly American Airlines at least once or twice a year, open this card or even one of the personal versions of this same card could still be a positive net value to you. But we are down to our final 5 cards, and all I'm gonna say is of these 5 cards, 3 of them are going in S tier. So let's go and start off with one of them being the Business Inc. Unlimited. If you say this card is anything less than S tier, I can't agree with you, mainly for the fact this is a no annual fee credit card. It has 0% APR for the first 12 months of ownership, and its welcome offer is 75,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points after spending $6,000 in the first 3 months of ownership. And one of the great things about Chase Inc. cards and their business lineup of cards is that you don't have to actually have a registered business entity to apply for and get approved for these credit cards. Even if you just have a side hobby, a hustle, anything in which you're earning extra income, then you can use that revenue that you're generating on the side in your expenses. You can use it for one of these applications. And at least from my experience, from what I've seen out there online, for first-time applicants, they're pretty lenient with how much revenue you need to have to get approved for one of these cards. And so the welcome offers, it's just staggering. For no annual fee, you can have this card open forever. You can earn 75,000 ultimate reward points, which is probably worth around $1,500 in travel once you transferred out to Chase's travel partners. For a no annual fee card, it's just crazy. And the best part is you can open multiple of these cards throughout your lifetime. I'm already on my second Business Inc. Unlimited in the last 15 months or so, and hopefully plan to open more in the future as long as things don't change with the rules in terms of service. And since you already know how strongly I feel with the Inc. Unlimited lineup, let's just go and put it there. The Inc. Business Cash in S tier, it's the same story, the same welcome offer, the same minimum spend requirement, 6,000 in 30 months, 75,000 ultimate reward points, which can sometimes be elevated to around 90,000 ultimate reward points. The Inc. Unlimited, I do want to mention, it is a flat 1.5x back on all spend. And for ultimate reward points, that's great because whereas the Inc. Cash has earning multipliers, I think office and supply stores is 5x back. And let's just say there are some particular items you can buy at office stores that it would be great to get 5x back on. And so these two cards, I mean, right there, if you open them, you're paying $0 a year in annual fees. You're getting 150,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points, and that's it. There's no strings attached. It's just such a beautiful lineup of credit cards, and I wonder how much longer this can continue to last, because the Ink card lineup has been awesome so far, but you know what they say, all good things must come to an end at some point. But I'm just hoping that end date is later rather than sooner. But we've been talking a ton about business cards. Let's go and slot the Hilton Aspire where I think it rightfully belongs, and that is in A tier. Now, based on your travel preferences, you could put this S tier, but the Hilton Honors Aspire, if you don't know, this credit card is an expensive $550 a year annual fee credit card, but it has one main superpower, and that is the fact that you get a free night certificate every year you renew the card. And why that's so special is because Hilton properties, there are a few in the world that are thousands of dollars per night. The Waldorf Astoria Cabo, pretty much any Waldorf Astoria property is going to be running close to $1,000 per night. You've also got places like the Conrad Bora Bora, international properties that will run you well over $2,000 per night. You can use the free night certificate you get from this $550 a year credit card, use it on those properties, and you've just made out $2,000 in extra value from that certificate alone. Also, holding this card, you do get Hilton Diamond status, which is very valuable overseas. I've already been able to experience some of the benefits and have a few Hilton stays upcoming that I'm very excited to be a Hilton Diamond member. And so I think for those who definitely prefer more luxury stays, and so for individuals that definitely prefer more luxury type hotels and luxury travel experiences, then the Hilton Aspire just slots perfectly into your setup. You do also get, I think it's $200 every 6 months of statement credits you can use at Hilton resorts. Now, this isn't Hilton hotels, it is just Hilton resort properties. There's around 300 Hilton properties in the world that are categorized as resorts, and at those properties, again, you get $200 every 6 months in statement credits at these resort type properties. I haven't been able to use that credit just yet. I hope to in the future one day, but I think this card really solid long-term keeper if you're someone who prefers those luxury travel stays and loves earning Hilton points, as you get a flat 3x back on all spend with this card. And I'm gonna leave my favorite credit card of all time for last, and instead place the American Express Business Gold card in its rightful slot at the top of B tier. Now, and again, credit cards in this tier are cards that I think most people can get value from, but this one is a bit tricky. The welcome offer on this card is quite absurd. I think it's up to 200,000 Amex Emerald points after $15,000 in spend in the first 3 months of ownership. So again, very targeted towards high spend individuals, business owners, but this card does share a lot of similarities between the regular gold and this. There's a $20 monthly statement credit, which could be used at Grubhub, and that's how I use it. And so I have 2 of these cards, so I get $40 a month in Grubhub credit. You can also get a free Walmart Plus subscription with holding this card. And so right there, those 2 benefits basically negate the yearly annual fee, canceled out to a flat $0 per year. But with that $0 a year effective annual fee, you're getting that massive welcome offer, and you're also getting 4x back on restaurants, which is a very great earning category with this particular card. And of course, there are other multiplier categories that are targeted more towards business spend, but having 4x back on restaurants and dining on a business card is a really strong multiplier. And so I'm probably gonna end up canceling one of these cards, but keeping another open just for those credits and again, the earning categories. Now, I have to give a huge thanks to anyone who has stuck through this video this far. This was a monumental task to properly rank and explain my thoughts on all these credit cards, but we've made it to the very end. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, my first ever travel credit card, is going to be ranked the best. In my opinion, it is unequivocally the best beginner, intermediate, advanced travel credit card out there on the market today. Mainly because the annual fee is $95 per year. The points you earn, the Chase Ultimate Reward points, are in my opinion, the most valuable and flexible points out there for either hotel or airline stays. You also get a $50 per year hotel credit that is just given back to you in the form of a statement credit if you book a hotel through the Chase Travel Portal. So effectively, as long as you're booking 1 hotel stay a year through this card, you're only paying $45 per year to get your points valued at 1.25 cents per point when redeemed through the Chase Travel Portal. You're also given a slew of travel and trip related insurance protections and benefits. Not to mention, in the first year of ownership, you can claim a free year-long membership to Dash Pass. And so let's just say you wanted to try out being in the credit card points and miles game. This is the perfect card. If someone is obviously responsible with credit cards, has a good credit score, this is the credit card that I can almost blanketly recommend to anyone as long as they're under Chase 524, which basically states you haven't opened more than 5 personal credit cards in the last 24 months. And again, even the Capital and Venture X, I can't blanketly recommend to people because the annual fee is very high and you have to make sure to use the travel credit to get positive value. But just for the Sapphire Preferred, meet the minimum spend requirement, you can cash out all 60,000 points for $600 cash back, get your free year Dash Pass, you're up $700 in value, and then if you don't like the card, cancel it. It's as easy as that. You're still $600 plus in value from one credit card without having to put much effort into the entire process. And I feel like the Chase Sapphire Preferred is one of, if not the only travel credit card currently that can sort of take that crown as being super easy to get value from and just very easy to recommend to even the most beginner all the way up to the most experienced credit card points and miles individual. But again, thank you all so much for sticking through to the end of this video. A massive thanks in advance. And again, all the cards I talked about will be linked down below in the description. If you happen to use any of my affiliate links, then I can't thank you guys enough for supporting the content, supporting the channel. And I hope to come back to you guys in about a year's time with an updated tier list with all my new credit cards, cards I've canceled, cards I've got open, and new additions to my setup. And so as always, if you want to be around for when that happens, subscribe to the channel so that in a year, I'll remind you to go ahead and watch this video. But again, thanks so much for watching today's video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.